welcome to the show, guys. I am your host, Sean Prevmore. Thank you for joining me. It is episode 5, Winners and Losers. You are listening to the Buys and Pride podcast. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. It is August 14th, 2022. Uh, I am very excited to say that Buffalo Bills football is back, boys. Bills football is back, and I could not be more happier. Uh, and not to mention, we came off of a week 1 preseason victory, 27-24, beating the Indianapolis Colts. Um, yes, I know it's only preseason, but I am very happy that football was back. I love football. I'm a diehard Bills fan. I can't stop talking about it. People tell me, shut up, stop talking about it all the time. I say no, go pound some sand. But Bills football is my favorite thing to talk about. So, and that's why you listen to the Buys and Pride podcast. You love listening to me rant and rave, or else you wouldn't have liked and subscribed. But anyways, if you guys have not liked and subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so. It's free, guys. What are you guys waiting for? Click the like bell, like and subscribe to the channel, and listen to me rant and rave. And feel free to leave some comments when these videos get posted up on YouTube. And all I ask out of you guys is just be kind, respectful, be courteous with your comments, keep it professional. Because if you guys aren't, unfortunately, I'm gonna be banning you from the page. Just be respectful. And I'm always open for listening to your opinion. I love debating. I am a very how can I say this? I am a very open guy when it comes to listening to why you feel the way you feel or why you think the way you think, and I will debate you to the end of the earth. Now I'll keep it professional, but yeah, like and subscribe to the channel, and also, hey guys, the Buys and Pride podcast. A big shout out is brought to this episode is actually brought to you by the 417 Mafia Buffalo Bills backers of Southwest Missouri. Our club out there and our group does a very phenomenal job running it. Big shout out to the other co-founders, the co-admins of the group. Excuse me. I'm also a co-admin of the group. Big shout out to Wally Charbonneau, David Weinstaff, Matt Puccio, and Christopher James. Those guys do a very phenomenal job maintaining the maintaining the Facebook page and help running the group with us. So big shout out to those guys. Join us August 20th, 2022, out of Big Whiskey Sports Bar and Grill in Springfield, Missouri, for the uh, preseason Week 2 game against the Denver Broncos. Come out, have a blast. We ordered T-shirts, so you guys have a chance to buy T-shirts for the group. Pay attention to our Facebook page, follow us, like us. We'll have more updates throughout the season. Regards to when we'll be doing all these events. But for the most part, for the 2022-2023 NFL season, we're going to be booked at Big Whiskey Sports Bar Grill in Springfield, Missouri, off of Battlefield Road. So come out and join us, guys. Have a good time. It's going to be great food, great drinks, great service, all around fun. But enough of that, guys. We're going to get right into what I thought about the preseason. Obviously, this episode is titled Winners and Losers. And I'm going to talk about what I liked from preseason week 1 and what I did not like from preseason week 1. Excuse me. When you go back and you look at the highlights from preseason week 1, if you're Brandon Beane and you're Sean McDermott and you're this coaching staff and you're the head office, you have a very, very difficult decision. You have a lot of very difficult decisions to make. Excuse me. You got to get this roster down to 85. 90 to 85 by August 16th, which is only 48 hours away. Less than 48 hours away if you're listening to it right now. But you got 2 days to get this roster down to 85 from 90. Now you got to cut 5 players. Now when I go back and I look at week 1 of the preseason, I go back and I watch that game. I go back and I look at all the highlights from different players, and I focus on so many of the ball mechanics, the way a running back runs the ball, the way there's just so many things that can take into consideration, and I'll talk about it here later in the episode on why I feel the way I feel about certain positions and who doesn't make the team. And anytime I decide that I'm going to make a decision in my mind on which player doesn't make the team, I like to try to provide enough substance a good valid argument to the team, valid argument on why I think this person doesn't make the roster. I just don't want to say, oh, well, he's not going to make the team. That's it. I'd like to try to provide a valid argument, and hopefully I could do that for you guys. In my opinion, on which 5 I do not think are going to make the preseason week 2. Now, obviously, I'm not the general manager. Of course, this is just my opinion going based off of what I saw. When I go back and I look at week 1, I don't think my first guy on my cut list from 90 to 85 is going to be Jake Kumaro. You go back and you look at this depth chart. There's 11 guys on this team right now that's competing for a wide receiver spot. And preseason is always a time to evaluate your rookies. This is a good opportunity to see how your practices, your OTAs, your mini camps, your scrimmages, all those weeks of practicing comes into play for preseason week 1. How are you going to perform on the field? And when we go back and we look at this performance from Jake Kumaro, he was one of the guys I really didn't think was going to make the team. We had him last year. He was cut. Saints picked him up on the practice squad, if I remember correctly, and then we brought him back. Had a nice catch. The only problem was he couldn't maintain control of the ball when he went down and ended up losing control of the ball. Unfortunately, perception is reality. You're competing for a spot, so his lack of performance and also being cut last year doesn't really make it look good for Jake Kumaro this year. Because right now at this time, of course, we didn't see the starters play at wide receiver. We didn't see Diggs out there. We didn't see Jamison Crowder. And I'm going to talk a little bit about him later in the show. We didn't see Jamison Crowder. We didn't see Stephon Diggs. We didn't see Gabriel Davis on the field. We didn't see your big name players. We saw Khalil Shakir. We saw Isaiah Hodgins. We saw Jake Kumaro. And unfortunately, we didn't see Marquez Stevenson. We saw Neil Pau'u, and we didn't see so much out of Tavon Austin. I don't think Tavon Austin hit the field at all, but Tavon Austin is a guy I didn't think was going to make this team as well. But we'll see. But in my opinion, I think this was an evaluation of Jake Kumaro to see how he performs. And I don't think Jake Kumaro is going to make the team. He's going to be my first cut when we're talking about cuts from 90 to 85. So he's not going to be there, unfortunately. Now, Marquez Stevenson. Now, if you listen to my episode week 2, Surviving the Cup, the wide receiver edition for episode 4, I talked about how Marquez Stevenson I did not think was going to make the team. And I still, unfortunately, at this time, don't think he's going to make the team. This kid's got a lot of speed, but unfortunately, he cannot get away from injuries. The previous year, too, he was also hurt. Right now, he's slotted more for a punt return, kick return role, But with injuries affecting him right now at this time, I don't think he's going to be able to make the roster. Now, do I think he gets cut week 1 of the preseason? No. And here's why. Even though the guy hasn't touched the field and he's still hurt, it doesn't appear to be a career season ending injury for him. The kid's got a lot of talent. He just can't get away from injuries. Do you want to cut a guy right now that you haven't had a chance to evaluate? He's got a lot of potential behind him. Or do you want to take a guy, if you look at the wide receiver role, and I'm going to compare apples to apples, Jake Kumaro versus Marquez Stevenson. Okay, yes, Marquez Stevenson didn't have a chance to get out there and perform. We know he's hurt, but Jake Kumaro did get a chance to perform. How did he perform? Not very well. So when you look at that, I'm going to say Jake Kumaro is the odd man out, and Marquez Stevenson has bought himself another week, even though he didn't touch the ball. Just because the time that he did play last year and the time he did play the previous year wasn't much. He did really well. And from reports from Sean McDermott, Brandon Beane, Marquez Stevenson was having a very good practice, a very good OTA, and before he got hurt. So I think he does make it on to another week. Now we talk about my second cut here. I saw a lot of problems yesterday with the offensive right side. When we're talking about the offensive line, I saw most of the problems were on the right side of the line. Um, a lot of missed blocks, and a lot of the offensive linemen, from what I saw, were very slow to get up on the defender. They were getting beat by the defensive ends, defensive tackles. Were just manhandling the right side of our offensive line. Alec Anderson, if you go back and look at the depth chart for Alec Anderson, he's a tackle. He's fourth string. And unfortunately, with Alec Anderson, from what I saw, you're going to get what you get with Alec Anderson. Not saying he's not a bad guy. I'm just saying he's at fourth string for a reason. And based off of the performance I saw out of him, Alec Anderson did play like a fourth string offensive tackle, right tackle. So number 70, Alec Anderson, I do not think is going to make the team. So moving on to my next cut, which is Luke Tenuta, who is also a tackle, which, interesting, he was on the right side of the ball, but he's listed as a left defensive tackle, third string. Now, I don't understand why he was playing on the right side of the ball, but Luke Tenuta was very similar in the ways of Alec Anderson. Very slow to stop the blockers, stop the defensive linemen, and preventing pressure getting to the quarterback. Fumbling all my words, I apologize. I had to collect my thoughts. But Luke Tenuta, Alec Anderson, saw a lot of problems with them guys. And when they were getting beat and they were getting manhandled, they were very slow to get back up. And trust me, when you play the offensive line position, those guys are not small boys. Those guys are your beef. Those guys range anywhere from 275 to 315, but some of them are very quick. I've seen in the 40-yard dash, it's just unbelievable that an offensive lineman can run like a 5.2, maybe even 4.9. You don't expect that out of an offensive lineman. Those guys are a rare breed. But with Alec Anderson, yeah, you're not seeing 5.9, maybe 6.3 speed out of him in a 40-yard dash, but very slow, very lethargic, looked pretty bad. Got beat a lot, got manhandled. I don't think he's going to make the team. Did not do a very good job preventing pressure from getting to the quarterback. So Alec Anderson's gone. Very similar with Luke Tenuta. Tanner Owen. Not really a fan of Tanner Owen based off of the performance I saw from him. You're going to get what you get with Tanner Owen as well. A lot of these guys that I'm rattling off right now, I see 3 tackles not making the team. I'm sorry, Tanner Owen is a guard. I misspoke, but I see 2 tackles and 1 guard not making the team, and that's going to be Tanner Owen, Luke Tenuta, and Alec Anderson. Those 3, I think, are not going to make it on to preseason week 2. They might, but right now, when you compare everybody, you got Ryan Bates at right guard. You got David Quisenberry, we just picked up from Tennessee. You got Spencer Brown. You got Roger Saffold, Dion Dawkins. Those guys are tough. You're trying to beat those guys out for a role. I think the coaching staff and the Brandon Beane at general manager have done and the scouts and everything from the defensive line, offensive line have done a really good job deciding where each player fits based off of their weaknesses and their skills, their strengths, their weaknesses and their strengths. So their skills have actually been a very good, accurate representation, in my opinion, of where these guys fall on the depth chart. Alec Anderson's going to be gone. Tanner Owen's going to be gone. I said one more person. I can't remember his name. Alec Anderson. Oh, Luke Tenuta. That's who it was. Those guys, unfortunately, I do not think are going to make the team. And then you're going to probably see some guys. That's pretty much you're down to David Quisenberry at first string. And then you got Ryan Bates at right guard. Then you got Dion Dawkins at left tackle and Roger Saffold. I'm getting off the tracks here because I'm specifically trying to focus on the rookies. But my God, then you got Spencer Brown. there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I look at Cody Ford. I'm just not really a big fan of Cody Ford, but that's a conversation for another day. Uh, but yeah, you're really pretty much set with who you guys have. I think maybe Bobby Hart makes the team. So there's going to be your final guys for your offensive line on the right side and left side of the ball. But Alec Anderson, Tanner Owen, Luke Tenuta, Jake Kumaro is going to be your 4 out of the 5 so far that I think are not going to make it to week 2. They're going to be part of that 5-man cut from 90 to 85. So we talk about the 5th guy, and this might come as a shocker to some of you guys. Raheem Blackshear, running back. Even though he did find pay dirt twice, he found 2 touchdowns yesterday. I don't think he's going to make the final 53. And here's why. We go back and we look at who had a standout game at running back. A couple players did have a standout game. Zach Moss. Zach Moss had a really good game. Zach Moss looks very healthy. I hope he can remain very healthy throughout the entire season. But Zach Moss, I've been a fan of Zach Moss. That guy runs the ball hard. He is a charger, for sure. Zach Moss had a really good game. Had 3 carries for 37 yards. He averaged just over 12 yards a carry. Even though he didn't have touchdowns, but you can see that his skills have definitely improved from from last year. Last year he played really good too, but man, he is looking very phenomenal. He did a very good job. When he was running the ball yesterday, there was a play where he had to change direction upfield. The original run play was designed to go to the right, and he got stopped in his tracks, got bounced off. I think it was right tackle or right guard, one of the two. I can't quite remember, but he got stopped, bounced off the right tackle, and then changed direction and went up the left side of the field for I think it was over 15 yards. He just found a lot of open field on the left side of the ball. Left side of the field by changing direction. And I really liked what I saw of him when we talk about ball mechanics. Now, when he changed direction of the field, he also changed the ball, the way he carried the ball. So he switched from the right side to the left side because he was running up the left side of the field. Now, I played running back in school, and what they teach you as a running back is when you're running, whatever side of the line you're running to, you're going to want to keep the ball close to the sideline. And the reason for that is because, God forbid, a defender comes up and makes a tackle and they strip the ball out, you have a greater chance of the ball going out of bounds instead of remaining in on the field somewhere, being kicked around, tossed around somewhere in the field, and you just limit the chance of a fumble recovery from happening for the defense. So he did a very good job when he switched directions. He did a very good job changing the ball. Very good job paying attention to, I'm running up the left side, but I'm carrying the ball on the right. I need to change the ball and switch it to my left. And what they teach you is when you're running the ball, you obviously want to keep, if you can. I see some running backs carry the thing like a loaf of bread. I don't know why, but I'll give an example. LaShawn McCoy. LaShawn McCoy carried that thing like a loaf of bread, just high out above his head sometimes. It was like, geez, what are you doing, dude? But some running backs carry it like that, and that's not really good ball control, but very good ball mechanics, very good recognition from Zach Moss's part on knowing to switch the ball from his right side to his left side while running up the left field after changing direction from a busted play that was originally designed to go to the right. So I'm very happy with Zach Moss. He will make the final 53. And you know what? I talked about this earlier too. I do not think this is one of the guys I thought, not this week, I talked about it before. I don't think Duke Johnson was going to make the team. I didn't think that originally, but after what I saw, I think he is going to be a good. Where do I look at Duke Johnson? Does Duke Johnson make this team? Originally, I would have said no, but because of who we have at running back, we have Devin Singletary, we have Zach Moss. We have James Cook. We just picked up in the draft. Delvin Cook's little brother. And then I knew Raheem Blackshear was not going to make the team. I'll talk about him here in a few seconds. He's my fifth man on the cut list, but I didn't see Duke Johnson really making this team. Yes, he's been in the league for a little bit. He's 28 years old. He's got some teams. I think he played with Houston. Maybe he's with Miami. I can't remember. I know he definitely played with Houston for sure. But I didn't think he was going to make this team. But here we go. Everything in the NFL is subject to change. Does he now, in my opinion, I think make this team? Yeah, I do, and here's why. Before I didn't think so. We look at where can he fit in. Yesterday they had him slotted for a punt return, kick return role to fill that void for Marquez Stevenson, who's out with a foot injury. And I think he did a very phenomenal job running the ball. So I do see him actually making this team. Now, I've never been a fan of Taiwan Jones. Taiwan Jones has always been a good special teams player, but never been really your guy you want back there at running the ball. But Taiwan Jones is not going to make the team, and I think he actually might have been cut. I had to go back and look at the roster, but I think Duke Johnson has found himself into a punt return role, kick return role temporarily. Nothing has been solidified yet, in my opinion, on with that. Because do I think he moves on to preseason week 2? Yes, I do. Will he make it after preseason week 3? I don't know, and here's why. Marquez Stevenson hasn't touched the field. Yes, he hasn't touched the field. Marquez Stevenson is actually designed to be our punt return, kick return guy on special teams, but he's not playing. I don't think you get rid of Marquez Stevenson yet because you got to give the guy a chance to perform and see what he can do. I think he will be Marquez Stevenson. I think Marquez Stevenson will be there preseason week 2, or maybe 3, and you're going to look at it. Okay, you're going to evaluate and see how he does. Then you're going to compare the two. In my opinion, you compare Duke Johnson, Marquez Stevenson. Who do you keep? If Marquez Stevenson can remain healthy, which that's a tall order to ask from a guy that's been hurt 2 consecutive years in a row. If he performs very well compared to Duke Johnson, I'm on the fence about this. I can go both ways on this. I still think you got to go with Duke Johnson, even though Marquez Stevenson is younger. He's very injury prone. Now, obviously, playing the NFL, people are going to get hurt. Everybody's injury prone. But coming off of 2 consecutive seasons hurt with a foot injury and a knee injury, you're really running your herd thin there at the punt return, kick return position if you're taking a chance with Marquez Stevenson over Duke Johnson. So I still think Duke Johnson's going to prevail, even if Marquez Stevenson can remain healthy. And I just don't think he's gonna. I don't think Brandon Beane and I don't think Sean McDermott are going to want to take that chance. At this point, I hate to say it and word it this way, but I think he's damaged goods. Hopefully, he finds a spot somewhere else. But as in the overall picture, I don't think he's going to be able to remain healthy. And you got to go with Duke Johnson at this point. Now, he'll obviously kick out Isaiah McKenzie because Isaiah McKenzie on the depth chart is slotted for that role. But yeah, I think you're going to see more of Isaiah McKenzie go into more of a slot receiver role because he's coming more out of his shell. You're not going to see Isaiah McKenzie. You may, not as often as you have before in the previous years, you're not going to see Isaiah McKenzie be utilized more of a end-around wide receiver. You're not going to see that. I really think the Bills are going to go 5 wide. You're going to see a lot of 5 wide. Who's your 5 wide? Stefon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, Isaiah McKenzie are your 3. This is going to be a shocker. I don't think Jamison Crowder is going to make the team, even though he's a starter at a wing position. I don't think he's going to make the team. But then you have Isaiah McKenzie out there. Isaiah Hodgins. Now, he's a guy I want to talk about him. He was a standout player last night against the Colts. Uh, he's come to play. Isaiah Hodgins has come to play. Uh, he did a very phenomenal job reaching out for the ball. Uh, Kid plays a lot of heart. Very good job making a catch, keeping 2 feet in bounds, maintaining good ball control. So I really think Isaiah Hodgins does make this team, and that is why I don't think Isaiah McKenzie is going to be more of a. That's going to be your 5, I think, in my opinion. Stephon Diggs, Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, Isaiah McKenzie, Isaiah Hodgins, and fifth one, who's your big guy. I don't think Khalil Shakir is going to be one of your big 5. He's going to make the team. He's going to be your 6th or 7th wide receiver, but people are going to argue with me on this, and I don't care. I'll save this for another episode. Odell Beckham Jr. is coming to Buffalo, guys. He's coming to Buffalo. A deal isn't done. Too bad. He's coming to Buffalo. Anybody who says right now that, oh, we don't want him whining, dude, I will go into another episode and explain why we need Odell Beckham Jr. But that's for another episode. So I just gave you guys out there, the listeners, some time to be, oh my God, you're wrong, and disagree with me. But I'm gonna debunk your opinion, and I'm gonna counter your thoughts, and I'm gonna explain to you why I have a valid argument on why we need Odell Beckham Jr. But that's for another episode. So I can't wait to hear the comments on that. I can't wait for those debates on that. So I know that's gonna make a lot of people unhappy, but I don't care. Odell Beckham Jr. is coming to Buffalo, and I'm happy for it. So tough. Go pound sand if you don't like it. So, but yeah, back to my 5th man. Sorry, I forgot the 5th man that doesn't make this team this week. This comes as a shocker? Is Raheem Blackshear? Yes, he had 2 touchdowns, and he was one of the big contributing factors to our preseason Week 1 victory. But Raheem Blackshear does not make this team, guys. He found pay dirt twice. When you stack him up against the running backs we have at Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, the way Duke Johnson played, and you have James Cook, you're not going to be keeping Raheem Blackshear, unfortunately. You just won't. And there's another one. I'm trying to think of who it is that's on this team right now. That's a running back. You got Devin Singletary, you got James Cook, Zach Moss, Duke Johnson. I think that's it. And Raheem Blackshear. I don't think Raheem Blackshear makes the team. I think they're going to go 4 running backs. First string is going to be Devin Singletary. James Cook is going to be second string. Well, I think you're going to kick James Cook back to third string. Zach Moss is going to be moving up to second string, similar to what we did last year. Third string is going to be James Cook. You got a rookie. He's going to be utilized a lot, but I don't think he's going to be utilized as a power running back. I think he's going to be more of the guy that goes out for the screen passes, does your little hook routes inside the 5-10 yard line in the center of the. I'm sorry, he's going to be your wide receiver, goes out for little hook routes, 5-10 yards out in the center of the field. He's going to be maybe more like your halfback toss kind of guy. I really in screen running back guy that goes out to the flat and catches it. I think that's where you're going to see more of that role for James Cook, because you already got Devin Singletary and James Cook. I'm sorry. My apologies. I'm fumbling all my words. You already have Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, who are your power running backs that can run up the gut, run around the outside. So you want to be able to have some versatility when it comes at the running back position. You want to be able to beat defenses every which way at running back. Can you beat him from the screen pass? Can you beat him from the run? Can you beat him up the middle? Can you beat him from the toss? You have to be able to beat him every single way. And I look at how the running styles of Devin Singletary, James Cook, Zach Moss, and Duke Johnson are. You can beat defenses every different way with these running backs. So, so that's where I think Zach Moss, Devin Singletary are going to fit more into a running up the gut, around the outside kind of mentality for when it comes to them getting the ball. That's going to be their run style. James Cook is going to be more of your halfback, guy that goes out. Sorry, your halfback running back that goes out for the flats, catches it for your screen passes, and you might see probably like a 15, 20 yard slant route, a post route from James Cook. You might get that out of him, but you're not going to get up the muddle. Geez, excuse me. You're not going to get up the middle or around the outside, or he's not going to be your counter run back. Even though he can do that, and he was pretty much your one cut running back in college, from what I saw, but you're not going to get that at the NFL level with him right now at this time, just with who we have. And then you come back to Duke Johnson. Duke Johnson's going to slide more into a special teams running back role need. So that's why I don't think Raheem Blackshear, even though he doesn't make the final 53, I think he'll make the practice squad. I think he'll make the practice squad. It doesn't hurt to have another running back, on the practice squad. So I think he'll make the practice squad, but he won't make the final 53, unfortunately. But at least he'll still be seeing a paycheck, and good news for him, bad news and good news for him. But he will be on the practice squad, unfortunately. And based off what I saw, I don't think any NFL team out there is going to want Raheem Blackshear. He's not a explosive running back. Doesn't have a lot of good breakaway speed. He's not bad, not great, but I think he's going to be pretty much safe on our practice squad if we put him on the practice squad. And that's the beauty of it. There's a lot of people who are going to have their opinion on who they think should make the team, who should not make the team, and when they get cut. But you have to understand that it's a business. You can't keep everybody, unfortunately. And just because you get cut does not mean that you're going to not make the final 53. Or, excuse me, you're not going to make the practice squad. So there's always a chance to make the spot on this team, whether it be on the practice squad or the 53-man roster. So, excuse me. Those are my 5 at this time that do not make the team. Just to recap: Jake Kumerow, Alec Anderson, Tanner Owen, Luke Tenuta, and Raheem Blackshear. And they have until August 16th to make that decision, guys, to get it down from 90 to 85. They have until August 23rd to get it from 85 to 80. And then they have until August 30th to get it down from 80 to 53. And my God, if I'm Brandon Beane, I'm Sean McDermott, August 30th, that deadline is going to be very tough. And it's only 16 days away. And as a whole, you only have 3 weeks to evaluate your team in preseason. Not really a whole lot of time, to evaluate your team. So that's why you really got to take into consideration your practices, your mini camps, your OTAs, your scrimmages, and see the production out of these guys before you make a decision, before you decide, okay, I'm sorry, you're not going to make this team. It's not a lot of time, but, hats off to every player that's fighting for a spot on this team. I wish them nothing but the best. So great. That's who I don't think make the final 5 this week. I'm sorry, those are the 5 that I think get cut this week. But I do want to give some recognition to some standout players I thought who did a really good job. First off, my favorite special teams player at this time is Matt Araiza. Matt Hawk is out. God, I've never been so excited for a punter. Matt Hawk, an 82-yard punt. They don't call him the punt god for no reason. He is phenomenal. He's kicking booted. I haven't been this excited. I haven't been this excited for a very long time about a punter in Buffalo since we had Brian Moorman. Okay, and that's going way back. I'm really dating my age with that, but Brian Moorman was the last player that I got excited about as a special teams player at punter role, and and Brian Moorman was very, very respected actually as a punter. Kid's got a leg. Matt Araiza's got a leg. He can boot it 82 yards now. Geez, where can he put it? Where can he get it to land? Can he drop it within the 5? Can he drop it within the 10? My God, it looks like he's going to have to take some off just to be able to get the ball to stay within the 10, 5-yard line. He's going to have to, I can't believe I'm going to have to say this, you're going to have to tell the guy to to hold back on some kicking power, because if he doesn't, he's going to boot that thing out of Highmark Stadium. And you think I'm exaggerating? This guy can punt it. This guy can punt it out of Highmark Stadium, and Josh Allen can throw it out of Highmark Stadium. It's pretty much Matt Araiza has Josh Allen's arm as his leg. That's what it comes down to. But yeah, that phenomenal. Matt Hawk is gone. Matt Hawk might actually be one of the guys that gets cut out of the 5 this week, and Raheem Blackshear might survive on to preseason week 2 and then get cut that week. But still, I still think Raheem Blackshear is going to go to the practice squad. Who else did I think had a really good day? Mike Love. Mike Love had a really good job on defense, getting pressure on the quarterback, making it hard for the quarterbacks to be able to do their thing. Really did a good job at collapsing the pocket on the quarterback. Mike Love, I am very, very happy with what I saw out of Mike Love. He's third string when it comes to left defensive end. Gregory Rousseau is obviously our starter. Then you have Boogie Basham. Oh my God, what a day he had. Mike Love had a really good day. And then fourth string is going to be Kingsley Jonathan. Of course, I think Kingsley Jonathan is going to be out as well, but we'll talk about that next week. Boogie Basham had a really good job. Terrell Bernard at linebacker, the rookie we just picked up in the draft. Terrell Bernard went back for 6 for a touchdown off the fumble recovery, but a lot of people are, here's the thing. A lot of the glitz and glam and goes to Terrell Bernard, like, yeah, awesome job. Woo, good job, Bernard. Good job. Yeah, absolutely. But that play doesn't happen. Terrell Bernard doesn't go back for 6 if Boogie Basham didn't get pressure on the quarterback. Nope. That strip fumble does not happen unless Boogie Basham is there. And yes, Terrell Bernard gets the flashy end of it all, gets to celebrate in the end zone, dance with the football and all that. Yeah, okay, cool. But it's like, I don't want to talk about this. Okay, yes, well, I did time in the military, and the backbone of the Army is your 11 Bravos. Those are your infantrymen. They are the backbone of the Army, and it's not the flashiest job. I couldn't do it. A lot of hats off to those guys. The infantrymen are the backbone of the Army, and unfortunately, those guys don't get a lot of rep that they deserve in the military. They go out there, they put themselves through extreme conditions. I couldn't do it. Hats off to them, but I did serve in the military. I was logistics, but we're getting off topic. But I respect the hell out of the 11 Bravos, the infantrymen, the mortarmen, and they just did your scouts, your 19 Deltas, those the Cav Scouts. Those guys go through the harshest of harsh extreme weather conditions, and they're the backbone of the Army. And it's very similar to the offensive linemen and the defensive linemen in the NFL. They're the backbone of this team. They're not, and it's not the most glitz. It's not the most flashiest position in the NFL. They don't get the most recognition, but without these guys, you would not see Terrell Bernard going back for 6 and dancing in the end zone, celebrating. So, hats off to Boogie Basham, getting pressure on the quarterback, causing that strip fumble for 6, and Terrell Bernard take it to the house. Boogie Basham will make this team. I'm very happy that he's coming out, doing a very job, stepping up to the plate. Mike Love stepping up as well. Of course, we're not going to see Gregory Rousseau out there because we know what he can do. We know what Ed Oliver can do. I honestly think when it's all said and done, maybe Jordan Phillips doesn't make this team. Brought him back. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. We'll see what preseason week 2 has to offer. But Boogie Basham has survived another week. Mike Love has survived another week. Terrell Bernard, of course, has survived another week. And potentially Raheem Blackshear maybe has survived another week, but I don't think yet at this time. So we'll see. But that is going to conclude episode 5, guys, of the Bison Pride podcast. Week 1, winners and losers. We're going to be saying goodbye to Jake Kummerow. We're going to be saying goodbye to Alec Anderson. We're going to be saying goodbye to Tanner Owen. We're going to be saying goodbye to Luke Tenuta, and we're going to be saying goodbye to Raheem Blackshear off the 53-man roster, but we're going to be welcoming him back to the practice squad. And Marquez Stevenson and Stone Question. So I think that's going to conclude winners and losers from episode 5 of the Bison Pride podcast. Okay, guys. I hope you guys had a really good time enjoying listening to me rant and rave about the Buffalo Bills this week. Also, just as a quick reminder, week 2, guys, of the preseason, come out to Big Whiskey Sports Bar and Grill. Have a great time with the co-founders and co-admins of the 417 Mafia, Buffalo Bills backers of Southwest Missouri. We do a phenomenal job making sure that you guys have a good time. Come out for some good food, great drinks. Come out and get some T-shirts. Do whatever you guys got to do to have a good time. But come out, enjoy it. And that's going to be the end of episode 5, guys. I will be back here next week for episode 6, Winners and Losers, part 2. Stay tuned, guys. I hope you guys have a safe, wonderful evening, and I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, let's go Buffalo. Boom. Like and subscribe.